Yo, hello, and welcome to another episode of In the Lane, a Miami Heat and NBA podcast brought to you by Anchor and hosted by 5 Reasons Sports Network. Now, Ben, you are a man of many hats, bro, as we've discussed. Okay. I think the only person wearing more hats right now is one of your clients in the nickname department. Have you seen all the Omer nicknames that exist out on Heat Twitter right now?
I saw, I would say at least five that I saw like being repetitive. So I'm interested to see what I'm missing.
Okay,
What's on the street here? Go ahead.
so we got a few, right? We got Omer Yurtseven.
Okay.
All right. That's the secret agent 007.
Yep.
All right. We've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Yurtle. That's been thrown around a few times.
That's great.
The fan favorite so far is Turk Nowitzki, but I don't like it. I don't think it's a good comp. I think he's got other skills, right? But those are the three major contenders. Out of those, I'm feeling Teenage Mutant Ninja Yurtle. I wish we could stick with it.
That's incredible. I call him Big O, little brother, or '07 seems to be the popular and most easiest one to remember.
Yeah, that's the one that's been sticking to. So, yeah, I told you you're a man of many talents. Just kind of introduce yourself to the people, brother. What do you do? What Why are you here? What do tell me about yourself.
So I'll start from the beginning. As far as my basketball journey, which is where everything has led to. Been playing basketball since I was about 6, 7 years old. Had a strong passion for it. Was pretty good in high school and college. Was an All-American. Went overseas. Played my first year in Iceland. Got my very first contract there, and then I played in Romania, then Italy. Then I bounced around a little bit. I came back to New York, Syracuse, New York, where I'm originally from, and I start working with a few kids here and there, and all of a sudden it turned into a business. And I'm just kind of giving you guys the short version of the story. So we started off working an after school program out of all things, where parents said, "Hey, will you come into the school and we work with a few kids?" I said, "Sure." We ended up having 50 kids who showed up, and and then after that, I started getting calls to do private training, group training. And I said, okay, this thing is actually a business. Because when I was doing it, it was just like a little side hustle for people, skill development and
Right.
stuff, something fun. We start off with about 50 kids in the first year. And then fast forward 13 years later, we have about 3,000 kids in New York. We're in about 5 states. We've worked with kids all over the place. And from there, it's led to me being able to work with NBA players, forming and bonding with some great relationships. And then from there, just all these other little things kind of came along, and it's just kind of, I think, organically taken its course with some other business opportunities. So that's kind of like the cliff notes of Ben Bellucci. At the end of the day, I'm a father. I'm a husband. I got another one coming this way in January, and I'm a blessed man. So that's kind of the quick Ben Bellucci story, and there's a lot more to it, obviously, and I'm sure we'll fill in the blanks. But just to give you guys a little background, that's where it all started.
Yeah, bro. Kiss sleep goodbye. You already have one, and you got another one on the way. You'll probably never sleep again. And I see how you're working right now. You're barely sleeping right now, bro.
Barely. That's a couple hours. I think you just train your body. That's it, man. Lots of coffee, and sometimes you're delusional, but you just figure out ways how to keep going.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw you whipping some rebounds to Omer late night, and I was like, okay, this guy's got it.
It keeps me up. It keeps me up at night, right? That's like my second wind. I finish up my day managing my company's phone call, email, blah, 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 meetings. And then 6, 7 o'clock, I go get some shots up with Big O. And it's almost like a break away from everything that's going on, especially now that we're busy with all the academies and stuff that we're running. So yeah, he still keeps me in shape because there's one of me. There's usually a few other rebounders. But as of late, I've been doing everything. And no, I love every second of it. It's an amazing journey, and to get to this point's been a blessing.
So let's get to the crux of like that time in between your playing career and then going to do after school coaching, right?
Mhm.
Where are you in that place? What are you exploring inside of yourself? Like, obviously, the passion for basketball is still there because you go and work around basketball again.
Yeah,
But tell me a little bit about the struggle of coming out of your playing career and finding, passion again inside of purpose.
that's a great question. So in high school, actually in middle school, they told me I wrote too much about playing in the NBA. They said it's not realistic. You're a dime a dozen. It's never going to happen. And I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. What does that even mean? And then, basically, I went to college because of basketball. All I thought about, all I wanted to do was basketball. Was it NBA was the only thing. That's it, and no backup plan. So obviously, I was able to play professionally, which was an amazing career. And when I came back home again, I worked with one kid. I didn't even know what I was going to do. I just started working with a kid, training, and he asked me a few pointers. And all of a sudden, I start working him out, and I give him a lot of detail into what his game, just teaching him some stuff. And then, the phone started ringing off the hook, and then more people were asking about me training, and as we got bigger and bigger, I started stepping away off the court and kind of managing and overseeing everything, just because it was getting to that point. And I was able to put my time into my NBA players as well. So um, that passion is something that has never left. When I'm at the games and the Heat games, and I'm in the arena and I'm just around this environment of the NBA, I still like, what the hell am I doing here? So I feel like, and I've had some close family friends be like, you always want to play in the NBA, didn't get there, but now you're actually training in the NBA. So maybe it was meant to be. That was your journey to get to that point. So, again, like to be around the game and so many great people, it's like, it's incredible. It's all about, at the end of this, the relationships that I built. And I
Yeah.
do that over and over and over and over and over again, because when basketball is done, like, we have the bond that we've built and the relationship that we built, and there's no price on that. It's been absolutely amazing and a lot of fun, and it's, again, I can't say it enough. It's just like, it's a dream come true. It's something I've always dreamed of being in this position.
There's something about the sacrifice to be the best version of yourself and inside of any arena, right? Whether it be basketball or sports management or being the best grocery stocker you can
Yeah,
possibly be. When you talk to people that have been around this space, it's always the camaraderie and the micro moments that they miss. It's never really, when I talk to players, it's never really the game. It's the relationships and the team building and those moments. It's I gotta imagine it's drives you so much to stay there and be in those moments, and it's fun. Where do you find the passion for the youth, like for coaching inside of that arena? Because I have to imagine that's a whole different space.
yeah. No, it's a great point. Great question. Again, is I think it all started from when I was younger. I was a kid, didn't come from much. Was just in a situation where I didn't have a lot of great people around me, a lot of opportunity, and every time I see a younger kid, or I'm in that space of youth, I'm always thinking, like, how can I give them something to inspire them? How can I give them some sort of hope? Help them dream, because I feel like nowadays a lot of kids aren't dreaming. Like, you ask them what they
Mm-hmm.
want to do, and not that it's a bad thing. The first I've heard a lot is, I want to be a YouTuber. You know what I mean? And again, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you remember, kind of back in the day, you wanted to be the fireman, the professional athlete, the this, the that, and I always felt that was something I always enjoyed, like thinking and dreaming about, is doing something that nobody thought that was possible. You know what I mean? And I think that was kind of what I get excited when I'm around like groups of younger kids, is just kind of seeing the youth, and they're like the blank canvas. How can we create, whatever they're trying to gear towards, whatever they're trying to do? And that was always exciting for me, even still is to this day, just to hear the excitement that a kid gets with basketball, and the stuff that they want to do with it, and them wearing the jerseys and this and that. It keeps me young, and I think it's just the closest thing you get to, like, being around, like pureness, right? Because there's still
Right.
younger, they don't know yet, and it's a good feeling, so, to kind of wrap that whole thing up is just, I love to inspire because I was always looking for inspiration growing up, and I didn't always find it until I went through the highs and lows, and I wish I had some things or some people in my path at an earlier stage in my career, in my life.
Well, I mean, when I hear players, especially guys who went overseas, talk about that experience, and definitely dudes who bounced,
Mhm.
that's a crucible, bro. And I have to imagine that a lot was formed for you inside of bouncing around from team to team, country to country, league to league. Is that probably like when the adversity was the toughest? Is there a different moment you look to?
I went from Iceland, where I had no idea what I was getting into.
Right.
I went there. They were 4 hours behind. It was only 3 hours of daylight. I missed my first practice. I looked at the clock. They said, be at practice at 16:34. And I'm like, what's going on? But the cool part about Iceland is, as I got really like comfortable there, the people and the players were amazing. It was some of the best relationships that I formed. And, I went back there, I don't know, like 7 or 8 years after we actually won the championship there. I won MVP of the country and stuff. I had a good career there. But all 12 of my teammates met me at the airport after I went there after 7 or 8 years, whatever it was. And that was something, again, we shared these amazing moments. I didn't really miss home because it just felt like that was home. But then my second year I went to Romania, and that was just a different story.
Uh-huh.
There was a different story. There were stray dogs everywhere. I was hanging from trees at 2 a.m. because there was about 30 dogs chasing me down the street. It was different. And then I went to Italy, which was absolutely beautiful, and the culture was great, and the food was great, and everything else you could think of was great. But each country gave me a different perspective, and I still have that to this day. And it's just about, at the end of it, just being really open with people. Don't judge a book by its cover. Really spend time with people, get to know them, see what they come from, see their situations, their backgrounds, this and that and the other. And I think that's really helped me in my life overall, to form really strong relationships, because I come with no judgment, and I feel like it's something that I've had to practice, but I feel like it's given me everything in the same breath. So I think that time overseas really kind of helped me mature, and just, show me the beauty in life, no matter what people think good or bad is. It's just, being present and enjoying, all the moments that arise in your favor, in your face. And it's been an amazing time. So that was one of the greatest moments of my life, is playing overseas for that 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, well, look at that flip. I was asking you about adversity, and you went to a happy place, man. You lit up. It must have been awesome for you.
Yeah. Well, because that question was good, because I was thinking about the adversity, and then I was thinking, like, the adversity was just getting accustomed to the culture. The bonds that I formed there were just amazing.
I don't admire the tour. I think it takes a lot, but in the same vein, I think you're a person who's really open to experiences and finding that glass half full moment. And look at all that you found through those experiences.
Yeah.
Do you take that through life? Like, is that typically how you're looking at challenges, as opportunities to learn, like opportunities to better yourself?
Yeah. I always look at, like, everything that happens, for the most part, is just, there's some sort of education or teaching moment there. I mean, again, you can look at all. I'm not going to say there's no lows, and there's days where I'm like, what the hell, like, forget this. It's just, I've learned how to get over them quicker, and I've learned to say, okay, like, this didn't go my way. How can I find a solution, or how can we move on from it? Because I was someone who was always overthinking, giving myself anxiety, stressing about stuff that never happened. And I had to just retrain my brain a little bit to say, it's okay if it doesn't go that way. Maybe there's something else that's bigger and better that's waiting for you, So I think going through a lot of the lows and adversity, as you mentioned, really just opened me up to say, like, most of the stuff's out of our control. We got to wake up and be, like you said, the best version of ourselves. And if that's we lay our hat on at the end of the day, then, that's okay. That's it. As long as you're trying and you're staying focused and driven on what you're trying to accomplish. And, I think there's a lot of positivity that comes from that. So I'm trying every day. It's a practice, just being happy, being present. And it's something that I take a lot of pride in. So.
Look, I mean, you want to talk about positives. There are a lot of positive things that happen in Las Vegas. Okay. For me specifically, there are a lot of positive things that happen in Las Vegas. And there was somebody around the center of all of them, man, especially dealing with Miami. And his name was Michael Beasley. Why was so many people gravitating to Michael Beasley at Summer League? And then I had one conversation with you, and you brought up Michael Beasley. You thought I was going to Mayor, but I'm not. I'm going Beasley. Can you explain to me what it is about Michael Beasley that makes him the fascination of so many people?
First off, I think he's misunderstood.
Okay.
Second of all, he's the biggest from the times I've spent with him. I work out of athletics here in Miami. Ronnie Taylor done a great job. He works with a lot of these guys. Mike's this guy, but I was fortunate to have a handful of conversations with Bees, and he's just like a guy who really cares, and he's got a huge heart, and he's just a fun guy. You know what I mean? He's just the guy where like you look forward to seeing, and you just the conversation, and just he's just very, very real. And I think that's what really kind of attracts to someone, is when you feel like they're just real, like just who they are, and they're comfortable being themselves. And Bees he's just a guy who's rooting for everybody. There'll be games being played, and he'll pull a guy out from the game, say, "Hey, you should do this, you should do this." He's like always willing to help. But man, Bees is he's just a great dude. He's just a great dude. That's all I can say.
I would have tackled every skill development and assistant coach on Portland's bench to get a handshake from Bees. I mean, I about threw myself over the stanchion to try and get him to shake my hand, and I got it. And I got to tell you, you're right. You just attracted to the man. I don't know what it is. His gravity, it's impeccable.
Yeah, and his hands are like
huge.
When you clap up, you're getting all the like. You're not getting a normal. You're getting one of these. No, he's amazing, amazing guy. I always look forward to seeing him and speaking with him.
So you obviously, I'm putting a little joke on you. One of your friends, right? One of your clients had his breakout in Summer League and a little bit in the Sacramento League too, that preseason for Summer League that happens there before he got to Vegas. I mean, balled out, Ben. And you guys have been prepping this and training for these moments for a long time. What can you tell me about Omer that maybe Miami doesn't know about him, right? Like what part of his journey did you see that the world hasn't?
Number one, his character is amazing. I think that's something that it's hard to find. And I think a lot of the NBA GMs, the high guys in the front office, like they look for that. Skill wise, I'll sound biased, but I don't see a lot of holes in this game. I think once he really gets going and people give him the opportunity, I think they're going to be like, whoa. But it's something he's always been doing his whole life. I just think that he just needs someone to just truly just like give him the shot and just like say, just go be yourself. And we're going to give you the minutes and that. So it's really tough. I mean, I'm trying to think of something that these people would want to be like, okay, that they didn't know. It's just, I don't know, man, between the work ethic and the high character and just the person who he is, he's someone who I think is just going to be very successful in the league. And I can't say enough about him. Like I said, I've been with this guy for 6 years. So there's so many things flowing through my head when you ask me these questions. It's hard to like one thing,
Let me simplify it. So he seems to be this super cerebral guy. I mean, he seems to pick up skills when he focuses on them extremely fast. Like even a conversation we had about footwork, right? You see changes happen in matter of weeks. Was it always that way when you first got your hands? Like where did you first meet him, and what were you looking at that point where you were like, oh, this is going to be a guy for me. I'm gonna mold this one.
Man, so our first conversation, he was in Turkey still. He was just finishing up at Fenerbahce, and I met him through a mutual friend, and then he was trying to figure out where he was going to go to school. He ended up going to NC State and then transferred to Georgetown. But every off season, he was living with me and my family, and we were working out, and we were able to form this bond. like I said, that's like unbreakable. I feel like he's, we're brothers. But I saw a couple of things from a skill standpoint. I never worked with anybody who picks up stuff as fast as he does. I almost feel like sometimes, like, when I want to watch film or do something with him, like, he already knows the answer, what I'm going to tell him, because I feel like he already corrects his mistakes after the game. And not to say that he's not going to be a guy, who obviously needs some nurturing and some stuff to, like, continue to get better. But there's just the one summer we had, we just focused on mid post only. We focused on his, we watched a ton of Carmelo Anthony. Then we watched a ton of Hakeem Olajuwon, and all we did was just study the footwork in the mid post. Because at NC State, he was basically like a low post and a pick and pop guy.
Right.
So I was like, we got to add this mid post game to your arsenal, because as teams start doubling you in the low post, and you're not going to always get those pops, you got to be in the mid post area where, like, they can't double you because you're too good of a passer, and that's one area on the floor you don't want to double someone. So as we went through, like, a list of things that we're going to add, by the end of the summer, everything that I would just call out as I was tossing the ball, and I'd say, okay, jab step, go here, boom, low step, go here, shimmy, go here. Like, it was just like he was dancing. He just picked it up so quick. Actually, I'm sorry, the COVID year, we had 6 months together, and we said, okay, what do we need to add right now to your game? Like, what is something that we're missing? And we said, let's continue to add the 3-point shot, the NBA 3-point shot, since, the range is much different. So we must have shot about 20,000 shots a month, no exaggeration. And as we were tightening up his mechanics, every single day, and we had all that time together, when he finally left there, like, I feel like he was like a well-tuned finished product. Like, he just had everything that he ever needed, I feel like, to be successful up to this point. So everything that we've done for the last, 5-6 off seasons has all led up to this point. And I think it's just now, again, like, I think the big thing, and the reason why I think he had to go through so many highs and lows, is I think he really needed to just be sure of himself and just have that mental switch to be like, okay, I'm this good. I just need to go out and just ball. Yeah. So I think that was kind of just, accumulation of all over the years of us just working and working and working and working.
I can see where some of that doubt might creep in. I mean, his process for getting to an NBA team isn't normal. Like, he didn't have the traditional path, especially coming in the year that he came into the league, and even getting to Miami, which is still like a great situation for him now, because he's on a contract with a chance to be extension eligible. But what are some of those things like, right? Like, you're going into his first off season, and you're working on some more skill developments, and you don't quite know where he's going or what's going to happen. And what are some of the things that you guys are drilling and focusing on at that point?
So it was such a weird year. So he goes to the G League, and that was what, like, I can't remember, a couple months, and it was in Orlando. And when he was done, he was like, what are we doing next? Like, what's going on? So I was like, just come here. Like, let's see what these, what happens for the next step. And so I was like, let's just consider this a mid-season right now. This is a mid-season. This is where we don't need to add too much. Let's just keep you sharp. So during that process, all we did was just really fine-tune his game, and he got more reps up with playing and stuff like that. But the whole focal point was just to keep him ready. So we didn't do too much additional things to his game. It was just really fine-tuning. But that process was crazy, because we got offers from overseas, and they were like, we've seen all these guys getting 10-day contracts that he just beat out in the G League. And, he averaged 18 points in the G League. And, he averaged 18 minutes and averaged 15 and 10 in the G League. And, he was head over heels, probably one of the best guys in the G League. And there was just no real opportunities. And I think it was a combination of him being in Miami, and the agent that we have now, Keith Glass, is working his tail off and just finding people that will just give him a shot. Because this kid came out, he was like the Luka Doncic before Luka Doncic. He was like the number one international player in the world when he was a teenager. He scored the 91 points at Fenerbahce. Then he goes to NC State. He stays there. He was with Dennis Smith Jr. His second year, he could have been a lottery pick. He stays, and he goes to Georgetown with Patrick Ewing. They fell short. COVID hit at the end of the season. So during this whole time, there was no, like, security of where what was next. Like, we knew he was an NBA player, but it was just a matter of how can we put him in the right position where he doesn't get drafted and ends up back overseas in 2 or 3 years. So that was the whole goal, for him to kind of, stay a little bit longer in college. So anyways, getting back to this, we got some film to Miami. The agent knew, a lot of people in the front office, and they gave him a shot. And even then it wasn't secure. It was like, he's sitting on the bench in the playoffs, and it's like, where do they see him fit? Then you transition into the summer, and you're like, there's still no contract. So we're like, what the hell is going on? What is next? And then, I remember our conversation before the summer league. I said, this is where a lot of players got their names. And he said, I know that, like, I'm ready. And he had this look in his eyes where it was like, okay, I know that look. And his first game, 27 and 19, you just saw mentally that he was in like a beast mode. He was like in his bag, he was in kill mode. And I think that's, that for me, watching his career, that was the first time I saw like 100% certainty. Like, I am a NBA player that can stick, that can play. Like, all you guys sleeping on me, I'm here. And that was and I saw that and I felt that. And after that, the rest is history.
Yeah, he stamped it, man. It couldn't have did a better job at it either.
No, it was really exciting to see. Then he does it back to back. And again, that's just confidence, because the tools that he has, you can't teach. He's a skilled 7-footer. He's 7 foot. You can't teach height. He can shoot. He can pass. Again, I sound biased, but if you ask any real basketball mind, they're going to tell you the same thing. There's not a lot of holes in his game. So it's just a matter of, in the NBA, it's not how good you are. It's what position you're in to prove yourself. And that's something that he needed, and it happened. And, he's working even harder now. You see us in the gym. That's after 4-hour practices during the day. We're back at night. You know what I mean? It's like, let's not stop doing what we did to get us to this point. Let's work even harder. Let's get this next contract. Let's get these minutes. Let's be ready, because the NBA is a long season. Something's going to happen. Unfortunately, someone's going to go down with an injury or whatnot. And they're looking down at the bench, looking for, who's next? Who can we count on? It's all it takes sometimes. So, so I'm just super pumped for him. I think the summer league solidified who he is as a player. And I think, the NBA, they'll see soon, how good of a player he is. I think a lot of people just overlooked him, and, and he didn't forget that. We didn't forget that. So it's just fuel, baby.
and you see it, man. The confidence is there. I think that was the first thing that surprised me when you hear him talk. I don't know what biases I have as a human being that I need to look into, but when you hear Yurtseven and then you hear how Omer talks, it's like those two things to me didn't connect at first, but once they did, I was like, that's a Miami guy. Yeah. He fits in the system so well. So he had to overcome, and Duncan talks about this a lot. He had to overcome maybe some imposter syndrome as a coach, as a trainer. When you're working with like NBA players, right? These guys who are at the top of the hill, at the highest peak of their professional sport. You ever look inward and be like, man, am I the coach? Like, am I the right guy for this guy? And what do you do kind of to balance yourself and be confident in your skill set?
I just try to think when I'm working with him is like, how can I make him better, and how can I give him comfort in knowing that I'm supporting what he's doing. And just, I think more importantly in my position, to answer your question, is just making sure he's always locked in mentally, because anytime you see a player like on the court kind of go through like those ups and downs, and it's nothing to do with them physically. I think mentally it's the biggest thing is once you understand like how, like, cause they're still always thinking about stuff. They're back-to-back games. They're tired. Like, am I going to play this, that, and the other? For me, my job is to be real for him or any of my guys that I work with. It's like, you suck tonight. Let's change it up. Let's do this and this. When you start kissing these guys' ass, you're just doing them a disservice. And that's one thing I took a lot of pride in. I think more than the actual skill development side is just to say, like, how can I be real with them and make them understand, like, there's always someone that they can rely on, And I think that is like the biggest thing for trainers at this level is you're only going to show them so much. They're NBA players. Mm-hmm. They got here without us. Right. but they also need that person in their life that they just feel like it's like a comfort for them. They know what they get out of that person. There's no hidden agenda. And that's really hard to find, especially in this environment. So that's one thing I take a lot of pride in my position is I guess more than the physical, it's just mentally just being there for the guys. I think that's really, really important.
Yeah. And as you like, there's so much about your character that speaks to that. And as you come into this new opportunity, you're even engaging the community around you, and you're trying to bring some of those things that you were doing in New York down to Florida. Can you talk to me about that a little bit?
Yeah. So besides work with NBA players and my my academy I have in New York, we've expanded all of our after school programs all throughout the country. So part of what I do and what I manage is we have after school programs that we run. We get deals with the schools. We go in and work primarily K through sixth graders, and it's something I always wanted to do. Give back to the community, be a part of again like the youth, and just kind of give them inspiration and hope. But we go into the schools and they're hour-long sessions, and we hire our trainers who know what they're doing, and they go into the schools and they run these programs once or twice a week. And again, I've been doing these now for 13 years, and it's just it's something that it's like the passion project almost. We just really enjoyed being around it and being able to inspire the community and the youth and the future. And then what we do is we turn around and we try to do free clinics for the kids that were less fortunate with our NBA players and our team and our staff, and just try to be a positive impact on everywhere that we are. So yeah, our BB after school programs are a big focus of mine now. And we are even in the midst of building an application for it. So it's just easier for our management of everything. And so that's something, again, that's a big passion of mine, is just being able to be around the youth still. So again, that's one big part of my business at the moment.
Every time I talk to a skill development coach, I'm about ready to run through a damn wall. I think the one time I talked to Phil Handy, I was like prepped to fight somebody immediately afterwards. I was prepared to go to war. I had a conversation with Drew Hanlon one time, same thing. I was just ready to go to war. There's something about the specific crucible that you guys go through and the skill set that you need to develop players that exist in that arena that, just makes you great communicators and so fun to talk to, dude. I really appreciate your time today.
No, thank you, man. It's great getting to know you, and what you do is amazing. And anytime I can get on and talk hoops and talk with someone like yourself, I'm all for it. So I really appreciate, just the time that you're spending here. And I hope I gave some insight and some good stuff. And it's just exciting to be a part of, the Miami Heat, community, I should say. So it's awesome for me. Again, it's just like a dream come true.
Yeah. Careful how deep you get into Heat Twitter. It can be dangerous, bro. This is just a tad.
Heat Twitter is hilarious. I remember reading something. I don't know. They're like, if you don't play Yurtseven, we're going to burn down the FTX arena. Like, I saw some pretty intense stuff. Where's Vic Oladipo? Why isn't he playing? Like, we're going to be waiting outside for security to like, what? So they can be intense, but that's the energy you want to feel inside of the arena at the same time too. Like,
look at your boy a couple nights ago. That was a playoff atmosphere with like half full stadium.
Yes, it was amazing. I remember sitting there, and I was with my wife and my daughter, and I was trying to be just the guy looking at the technicality of stuff. And as the runs start going, and he got the offensive rebound and scores, and he hits the free throw, the guy gets the end one. I'm out of my seat clapping, like a true fan, and it's like I don't do that. Not that it's just I've been around it so much, you know what I mean? And not to say that I still don't love it, but that was just different. And that was preseason. So I can only imagine, once they get deep into the playoffs, what that building's going to feel like. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, it's coming, dude. I hope what you just said didn't go over everybody's heads, because I feel it coming.
It's coming. I mean, it's inevitable. If they stay healthy, it's inevitable. It's over.
Deep enough to weather a storm too, man. I'm hoping. So, man, thank you so much for being on here. Tell if you know your Twitter handle, throw that out there where people can find your stuff, like what you're doing. Maybe go ahead and take a second here,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah. So my Twitter's at 315BBA. My Instagram's at BBA315. I'm just, I'm just running my businesses. We have academies all over the place, and I'm just trying to continue to stay busy and manage that stuff and get back to the community. And then in the meantime, I'm just working with my MBA guys, and I just love being around the game. And if there's anything I could do for any inspiring trainers or players coming up, like hit me up anytime. I'd love to just give you some feedback and stuff. But no, thank you for having me on. I'm pumped for all the stuff that you're doing. Yeah, this is one of the better interviews that I've had, and it's exciting to get to know you, Tony. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for your time, man. To anybody listening right now, thank you so much. I appreciate every single follow, every single like, every single subscription. All of it's so necessary. The only currency that we have in this, the only currency is digital currency, right? So make sure to go shoot Ben a follow. It matters. It adds up. Make sure if you're around, you go to Tony Schwartz NBA. Shoot me a follow. 5 Reasons, of course. That's how you're hearing me anyway. So you're probably already subscribed. So Ben, I appreciate your time, man.
No, of course. Thank you. Really appreciate it, Tony.